Mortgage time bomb, mortgage crisis, renewal wave, financial wall. That's the language. I'm not here to calm you down. I'm here to ask who built this wall, because between 2020 and 2022, Canadians were told rates will stay low for a very long time. Cheap money, supportive policy, refinance, upgrade, stretch a little, they said. Now, delinquencies are rising. Power of sale listings are rising. Prices are off peak. Renewals are hitting 2026 and 27. So no, this isn't panic. This is pressure. And pressure doesn't explode overnight. It exposes what was already fragile. Let's start with the data. Ontario delinquency rate almost 0.25%. Toronto almost 0.25%. And now that sounds small, but Toronto was 0.15% just a year earlier. That's roughly a 60% increase year over year. This is not a collapse, but it is direction. And markets move on direction, not absolutes. CMHC itself expects arrears to continue rising moderately in 2026. Moderately? That word matters. We are not in a US 2008 scenario, but we are not in stability either. We are in rising strain. Now let's talk forced listing. Power of sale listings are being reported as rising. Again, not tsunami, but visible. Distress used to be isolated. Now it's trackable. And when distress becomes measurable, confidence shifts. And housing is a confidence asset. Now let's talk about something that really matters. Equity. From the peak to now, in parts of the GTA, we are saying 15, 20, even 30% off on prices. Now let's do the math. You bought in early 2022, paid $1.2 million and put 5% down. Now the prices fall 15, 20%. You are not down, you are stuck, because selling means bringing money to the table. Refinancing becomes harder. Switching lender becomes harder. Mobility all of a sudden disappears. And when mobility disappears, risk increases. So now let's be precise. This doesn't mean 25% of homeowners are underwater. It means when people go insolvent, negative equity is often part of the story. And that's the key. Negative equity doesn't destroy markets, it traps households, and trapped households reduce spending, and reduced spending affects everything else. This is not just housing, this is economic pressure moving outward. And now let's address the sacred cow, the stress test. Borrowers had to qualify at higher rates, so technically they were tested for this already, right? So why is there pressure? Because the stress test assumes stability everywhere else. It does not account for groceries up 20 to 30%, the insurance hikes, the property tax rises, the condo fee jumps, childcare costs, job volatility, life events. It stress tested the rate. It didn't stress test life. Now, let me be fair. Without the stress test, the 2020 and 22 insanity would have been worse. If buyers qualified at 1.5% without buffer, the bidding wars would have been even more aggressive. So yes, it slowed the rocket, but it didn't prevent the altitude. It was a brake, not a parachute. So let's separate emotion from reality. Investors who bought pre-construction relied on appreciation are cash flow negative. They are exposed. Speculators who assumed 1.9% forever, exposed. But here's who I'm really watching carefully. Families who bought to leave, not flip, not speculate, but actually leave. This group, they don't sell fast, they absorb pain quietly. They extend the amortizations, they cut spending, they take on side income, they survive. And survival doesn't show up in the headlines, it shows up in lifestyle compression. Between 2020 and early 2022, millions of mortgages were written, all ultra low rates. These have been renewing in 2025, now this year 2026, and the next year 2027. And some people say rates have come down from the peak. Yes, but we are not going back to the 1.5%. And even if we hit 3.5 to 4%, payments are materially higher than pandemic era borrowing. And if income didn't rise proportionately, the math tightens. That's the renewal wave, not explosion, compression. Here's what makes me angry. We stimulate hard, we encourage leverage, we reward borrowing, we tell stability is engineered. Then we tighten it up aggressively. We warn about excess, we call it discipline, and households are left holding the volatility. This is not about blame. People made rational decisions in an irrational environment. The question isn't, will this be a crisis? The question is, how much pressure can households absorb before behavior changes? Delinquency rising, distressed listings rising, equity thinner, renewals stacking up. This is not collapse, it's stress redistribution. And if policy makers want to preach responsibility, they better design systems that don't oscillate like a damn pendulum. I'm Angry Realtor and I stand for buyers, sellers, families, and transparency. Are you worried about your mortgage renewal, or do you think this is overblown? Comment below. I'll see you next Sunday at noon.